ESPN Sunday Night Baseball for more than a decade. Your home for the Major League Baseball game of the week.
Okay, everybody, let's have some fun.
As Yogi said, 50% of this game is 90% pitching. It's why the Braves have dominated for 10 years in the National League. It's been the heart and soul of 4 Yankees title teams. For the Braves, Glavine, Smoltz, and Maddox have combined for over 600 wins. Tonight, it's Maddox, the master of precision, a 4-time Cy Young winner, and a certain Hall of Famer. In the Bronx, the names have changed, but great pitching has been a constant in the Yankees dynasty. Hired guns, aces acquired in their primes, and homegrown talent. The latest jewel is Mike Messina, the prize addition to the Yankees' powerful rotation. Tonight, Messina faces Maddox. It's a showdown at the big ballpark in the Bronx, Yankee Stadium. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel. This is Yankee Stadium in New York, New York, where tonight the National League's Atlanta Braves meet the American League's New York Yankees. And 2 great ball clubs and 2 great pitchers. Out of the visitors' bullpen, there is Greg Maddux, one of the best ever 4-time Cy Young winner. Greg Maddux trying to win this rubber match for the Braves. Meanwhile, for the Yankees, the former Baltimore Orioles ace, Mike Messina, who's already been matched up a couple of times with Pedro Martinez, up against Maddux. Hello, everyone. I'm John Miller with Joe Morgan, and welcome to Sunday Night Baseball. And we're in the big ballpark, the big city, the big crowd is here, the rubber match of the series. Now, Mike Messina knows when you come here to New York, you're going to be under the spotlight, and he has pitched well in some ball games with big crowds and big stakes, including opening day, 55,000, a 1-0 win there. He beat the Orioles before 48,000 at Camden Yards in his first return to Baltimore. He beat Pedro Martinez in this ballpark before more than 54,000. So he's got a similar assignment tonight against the great Greg Maddux.
And you're right, John. He'll have to be almost perfect again because Greg Maddux leads the National League in earned run average, although his record's only 5-5. And the reason for that is because he's been matched up against guys like Mike Messina and some of the better pitchers around the league. John, I think last year's game against Pedro Martinez pitching against Roger Clemens here was one of the greatest games I've ever seen. We may be in store for something like that tonight because both of these pitchers are very dominant when they're on. And right now, Greg Maddux is on a roll. He's really pitching well.
All right, I'm going to hold you to that. Now, the Atlanta Braves, off to a real slow start earlier this year. They weren't hitting, but now they won 16 of their last 22, looking more like the Braves. The Yankees, meanwhile, well, they've just been close to ordinary. They've never been really hot. They've never had more than a 4-game winning streak.
Well, the Yankees are a team that's looking for an identity. I mean, they know that they're world champions, but they're not playing like world champions right now. In fact, only a couple of their hitters are on top of their game. Bernie Williams is starting to swing the bat now after a slow start. Here he goes into the upper deck on Friday night, and Jorge Posada is the other guy that's swinging the bat well. Here he goes into Reggie Jackson territory, straight away in the bleachers in center field here at Yankee Stadium. But these 2 guys are the ones that are carrying the team right now. And if you can find a way to pitch around them, as I'm sure Greg Maddux will, then they have trouble scoring runs.
All right, so it's the Yankees and the Braves. When they play, it feels like October. They've met there a couple of times. Chipper Jones, who hit 2 homers yesterday, leads the Braves in here. And Mike Messina will try and shut him and his Braves teammates down. The Yankees and the Braves coming up. Parking toward Midtown in Manhattan. Sunday Night Baseball. The Braves and the Yankees. Tonight on ESPN. In our Batter's Notebook segment, Chipper Jones explains his swing and the challenges of being a switch hitter. And Joe Morgan takes a look at 2 of the best switch hitters, the great Mickey Mantle and Joe's old teammate, Pete Rose. And Braves pitching coach Leo Mazzoni explained what makes Greg Maddux so much better than meets the eye.
I think he's smarter than any manager or pitching coach I've ever been around.
That pretty well explains it. And there's Yankee Stadium, not a sellout tonight. They drew over 155,000 for the first 2 games of this series already. Here's the Nextel batting order for Bobby Cox's Braves. Kilvio Veras and Rafael Furcado, the guys at the top who try and get things going for the power guys.
Well, they moved Veras back to the leadoff spot, and things have started to go pretty well there. And, of course, Chipper Jones, he's the real constant in this lineup. But Brian Jordan and the guys behind him are going to have to start swinging the bats better, or they're going to just continue to pitch around Chipper.
And Mike Messina And forever, it seemed like he was associated with Baltimore, but now he's in New York.
Well, he's done a good job, John. 81 strikeouts in 81 innings, only 12 bases on balls. He throws a good fastball, a curveball, and a changeup. His changeup is a thing of beauty, and we're going to see a lot of changeups tonight. Greg Maddux also features a great changeup. So we're in for a treat, I think, with these two pitchers because they're both really good at what they do. Not overpowering, either one.
And he looked overpowering right there with that fastball to kill Villarreal. And we are underway. 79 degrees, the game time temperature at Yankee Stadium. Silvio Veras, 250 overall this year. Took him a while to get his average up over 200. As we look from the dead center camera, the bunt is foul, and it is quickly 0-2 to Veras as Scott Brocious goes over to pick it up. Mike Messina, 32 years old, a first-round draft choice out of Stanford. And he's from a small town, Montoursville, Pennsylvania. And he still likes it there. He lives there in the off-season, helps coach some of the high school sports teams, the football team after the baseball season is over, the basketball team. But now he's in the big city, on the big stage. High and away with a fastball. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
And there were a lot of people that did not think he would come to New York because of all the spotlight being on him. He liked pitching in Baltimore, and he's a low-key kind of a guy. And it's very difficult to stay low-key here in New York.
And too high again. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Now, Messina, I think, would perhaps be in agreement with Greg Maddux, his opponent tonight, about saying that pitching and baseball in general are things you can't do on emotion. They're not contact sports. You need to use your control and use your head. You need to stay on an even keel. 2-2 the count. And he struck him out. 1 away.
Well, let's take a look at the defense behind Messina. He didn't need much of a defense except for Joe Oliver, who is behind the plate replacing Jorge Posada, who has a bad shoulder, and Bill Torrey said he might be back behind the plate next week. There's Joe, and a lot of people may remember he played with the Reds when they won the championship in '90. So he's been around for a while, veteran catcher, and I think that's why he's in there tonight instead of Todd Green. Joe Oliver has been a veteran catcher that's caught a lot of great pitchers.
Rafael Furcal, National League Rookie of the Year last year, takes a called strike down around the knees, and it is 0-1. Ted Rapuano, longtime National League umpire, calling the balls and strikes tonight. Paul Emmel, Lance Barksdale, and Tim McClelland working the bases from first to third. Furcal, another of the Braves, who was off to a slow start this year, gotten it up to 257. And that is the high strike on the inside, 0-2 the count. They had over 50,000 here Friday night for game 1 of this series. More than 55,000 yesterday. And we may have close to 50,000, 47, 48 or so here tonight. Aiming for that outside edge. And one thing with both of these pitchers tonight, Joe, if the catcher calls for one on the outside, that's liable to be where it's going to be thrown most of the time because they both have excellent control.
And if they miss the outside, it'll be away. They're not going to miss to the middle of the plate on any of these pitches.
Andrew Jones on deck. 1 out, nobody on. 0-2 to Furcal. There's a sharp breaking ball and no swing, says Tim McClelland on the appeal.
Well, he throws 2 types of breaking balls, I guess. He throws a knuckle curve and then another breaking ball that's more like a slider where he doesn't use the knuckles to throw the pitch with. He kind of uses his fingers more than his knuckles.
1-2 the count. And that's the knuckle curve. The knuckle curve just kind of goes in and goes straight down. 2 balls, 2 strikes. One day when he was in Baltimore in his second year, he never had thrown a slider at all, as we take another look at that, Joe.
And there you see.
Makes the dive and makes the catch.
Well, a fine play there by Bernie Williams because he was shading a little bit toward left field, but not a lot. And that ball looked like it was right there in the gap. See, he's a little bit toward left field, but not very much. Comes in quickly, makes a dive, and he comes up with it. Nice play by Gold Glove winner Bernie Williams.
Well, Bernie has been hitting extremely well of late. His defense always seems to be very fine. 2 down. Here is Andrew Jones, who burst upon the national scene in a big way right here at Yankee Stadium in Game 1 of the '96 World Series. It's going to be an easy out right here. Alfonso Soriano has it. And Mike Messina with a quick first inning. Now the Yankees coming up against Greg Maddux. Derek Jeter will lead it off against Maddux when we come back.
Didn't he buy us exclusive?
ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel. The Braves nothing. The Yankees coming to bat. Statue of Liberty out in New York Harbor. We're up in the Bronx. Here's the Nextel batting order for the Yankees against Greg Maddux. Jeter, O'Neill up in the number 2 spot for the second straight day. And Bernie Williams, who has been real hot lately.
Bernie Williams and Jorge Posada are really the only ones that have been very consistent. Scott Brocious is hitting well also, but these 2 guys are the guys that have been carrying the Yankees lately. And Williams got off to a very slow start, but he's been really swinging the bat well lately. And there you see the numbers for Greg Maddux. He leads the National League in earned run average. And you can see only 12 bases on balls in 85 innings, very similar to what we saw with Mike Messina. Maddux throws a fastball. He works everything off of his fastball, throws a lot of fastball, throws a curveball, a slider, and a change, and he also will throw a cut fastball. But basically, most of his stuff comes off of the fastball. He changes straight off the fastball.
Derek Jeter. Right there on the outside, it's strike 1. Jeter has been struggling lately. On this homestand, 5 hits in his last 33 at-bats. His average has fallen down to 295 home runs, 29 batted in. Usually he is not the leadoff man. Chuck Knobloch handles that. Knobloch getting a day off, as he did yesterday after twisting his ankle going for a ball in the left field corner. There's Knobloch on Friday night. And that is down and away again. Ball 2.
Plus, Knobloch was not swinging the bat well. His average had dropped down to 250 area, and he wasn't getting on base nearly as much as before. So with the injury, Joe Torre decided he's going to give him a couple of days to try to see if he could get him healthy.
He's chasing a ball that turned into a double for Chipper Jones into the left field corner. And since April the 28th, Knobloch has hit only 177. Right center field, Andrew Jones. We've got a couple of center fielders who can catch just about anything hit out there tonight. 1 away.
And let's take a look at the defense. As you mentioned, Andrew Jones, Gold Glover in center field. Paul Bacco is behind the plate today. Javi Lopez is their normal everyday catcher. But Greg Maddux is working with Paul Bacco tonight, as he usually does. Where's Paul Bacco? Lopez doesn't often catch Greg Maddux. The only time he actually catches him, John, is in the playoffs sometimes, or a World Series game. He doesn't catch him a lot during the season.
Paul O'Neill. Very unusual to see O'Neill hit in the number 2 spot. In fact, not since he was with the Cincinnati Reds. And even then, 11 years ago, all the way back in 1990 with the Reds, had he hit in the number 2 spot of the order until Joe Torre put him there yesterday. High and tight. 1 ball, 1 strike. O'Neill has also been struggling. Only 18 hits in his last 86 at-bats. Only a 209 average in that time.
And when you watch these 2 pitchers, John, you see Messina's radar gun reading will be much higher than Maddux, about 6 to 7 miles an hour higher.
The changeup.
But Maddux, he depends on movement, has a lot of movement on his fastball, and he mixes in the changeup. And the one thing that makes his changeup great is he has the same arm speed with his changeup as he has with his fastball, and that's where the deception comes in. And he also has that great pitch. He starts off the inside corner on the left-handed hitters and moves back over the plate.
Left center out in the Death Valley, way back there. This one is up and over the wall on a hop. An automatic double for O'Neill. Martinez from left, Jones from center giving chase. Neither could get to it. It's 399 feet to the power alley in left center.
Well, one of the things that O'Neill does, and when you get the ball up, and away from him, he drives it the other way. See, that pitch is away, but it's also up. And when he gets 2 strikes, he goes the other way a lot. And this ball is not just hit the other way. That ball is driven in the gap in left center field.
So O'Neill, who now Williams. Bernie hitting .287, which is still well below where we're used to seeing Bernie. But he's had to be real hot to get it up that high. He's hit safely in 12 straight games.
Bernie's a guy that right now, I mean, when he gets hot, he can carry a ball for the club for long stretches. So if you're Greg Maddux, this is really one of your worst nightmares. You did not want to see Bernie Williams up there with runners on or a runner on base. If you can pitch to him with the bases empty, you can kind of pitch around him.
He's had 20 hits and 41 at-bats. And the ball inside.
And I'm not so sure he's not going to pitch around him right here because, again, when a guy is awfully hot, you know, in the lineup, it doesn't make any sense to challenge him because he's seeing the ball good and he's attacking everything as Bernie is right now. I mean, he's really seeing the ball well.
And you've got another cold hitter on deck in Tino Martinez. And you see that in the last 12 games, 488 average for Bernie. Changed up on him, just got a piece of it.
Well, that's what he wants to do. That was out of the strike zone as well. But if Bernie wants to swing, he'll let him swing, but he's not going to give him anything in the middle of the plate or anything that he thinks that he can drive.
Greg Maddux, who has won 105 more games than he has lost. Only 3 pitchers who made their major league debuts within the last 50 years can say that. Juan Marichal, Jim Palmer, Tom Seaver, and at the moment, Greg Maddux. He's in some pretty select company, and there's some pretty fabulous names that are not on that list. 3-1 to Bernie Williams.
And you can just see how careful he is being with Bernie. Off the outside edge, off the inside edge. And he had Bernie swinging at a changeup that was also a ball.
Roger Clemens of the Yankees, the other active pitcher who would be on that list at the moment.
And there's another changeup. He's not gonna give Bernie Williams anything great to hit, and I don't blame him in that situation. Because again, Bernie is the guy that can hurt you the most in this lineup at this particular time.
Now Tino Martinez in the final year of his contract with the Yankees, and he has been struggling. Only 12 hits in his last 72 at-bats. And that's struggling for a while.
Yeah, but he got off to such a great start, John, and it's amazing. I mean, he has dropped down to that 270. He was off to a great start at the beginning of the season.
Still has 40 RBIs, second best in the club. And the fastball is too low, and now Baco is going to go out and talk to Maddux as O'Neill goes back to second. Williams back to first. Tino Martinez, like many of the Yankees, has also struggled in these kind of clutch at-bats. You see, since May the 19th, only a 167 average for Tino Martinez. 2 men on, 1 man out. No score in the game. Got that outside call for the fastball. 1 ball, 1 strike. Greg Maddux, with those 245 wins, one of only 3 active pitchers with 200 career wins or more. That's foul. Now it is 1 ball and 2 strikes to Tino Martinez. All 3 of those 200-win pitchers on the active list are with these 2 clubs, Maddux and Glavine with the Braves and Clemens with the Yankees. Maddux in a jam. 2 men on, 1 man out, and the Yankees cleanup hitter at the plate. Two and 2.
One of the things you see with Baco is he sits right in the middle of the plate, and he doesn't move to the inside or outside until Maddux actually starts to the plate. And I think that's great because otherwise a hitter can feel where you are if you move too soon. Right there in the middle of the plate. Now he moves inside.
Up the first base line. And play to be made there by Wes Helms. O'Neill moves to third. Williams over to second. Martinez retired. And now Jorge Posada is coming up.
Well, Maddox was a little late getting over there, but he wanted this ball right in under the hands. Watch this. Now see Baco move over when Maddox starts. He doesn't sit up too quickly. If he sets up too quickly, then the hitter will know where the pitch is. And if you know where the pitch is, most of the time you'll also know the speed of the pitch. But see, Maddox didn't get over there quickly enough, but a good job by Helms to retire Martinez.
Now here is Jorge Posada. Posada has been the Yankees' #1 hitter in these kinds of situations. He's hitting .423 with men in scoring position. The Yankees as a team only hitting .250. They've been very frustrated in these kinds of spots. You were saying, Joe, he and Bernie are the guys who've been hitting the ball well of late. Maddox with runners at second and third, 2 down. Ooh, nice one on the inside corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. O'Neill hit a double with 1 out. He's at third. Williams walked. He's at second. Went right back in there again. Strike 2.
If you're going to throw Posada a fastball, that's the spot to throw it, on the inner half of the plate. Now watch, see, he doesn't move too quickly. Again, sets up right there, and look at that. Just the target doesn't have to move it.
The big ballpark, Yankee Stadium. Went back there again, and this time, I guess a little too far in. 2-2.
I'm surprised with 2 strikes on O'Neill and also 2 strikes on Posada. He hasn't thrown that backdoor fastball, meaning the one that starts off the plate inside and moves back over the plate to the left-handed hitter.
2-2 to Posada. Struck him out as he changed up, and the inning is over. So the Yankees with a threat, but 2 men left. Now Chipper Jones coming up. No score. For the Hudson, no score at Yankee Stadium going to the second.
And, John, we have 5 switch hitters in these 2 lineups. The Braves have 3. And here's Chipper Jones from the right side. You can see it, more natural swing, and just rather smoothly his swing goes through the strike zone. On the left side, he has to force it a little bit. See, there's a force right there. You can see him using his body a little bit to try to get his hands through. So he's more natural from the right side, but because he hits most from the left-handed side, he's become a very good left-handed hitter.
Messina gets strike 1 against him. Chipper had 2 home runs here yesterday, and is 5 for 7 in this series. Fastball fouled back, and the count is 0-2.
And when Chipper's hitting left-handed, that's where you want to pitch him. You'll pitch him inside with a fastball. Here's his home run yesterday, out over the plate, and he hits it straight away center field. I mean, no doubt about it. Actually left center field, but no doubt about it. And there's the second one. That was a hanging breaking ball, and he kind of hits it in the identical spot.
He went into the deep part of the ballpark. Backdoors him with a slider and misses with it. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
One of the most important things for these 2 pitchers is the people that they work with. Maddox likes to work with Baco. Baco knows Maddox well. Oliver's still trying to learn a lot about Messina, but
left center, Bernie Williams, and Chipper Jones is gone, 1 away.
But Oliver is a veteran catcher, so he knows how to work the catcher. And you can see on all these pitches to Chipper Jones, he was giving him a little extra wiggle with the glove, making sure he can see right there, get it down. And that's what he wants. And look where it is, down. And a nice pitch. But that's what you want from your catcher if you're a guy like Maddox or Messina who can hit the target. You want them to give you a good target, and you'll try to hit it.
Brian Jordan, right-handed batter. And down and away for ball 1. Jordan, the veteran. He was off to a real slow start this year. He's up now to 268. 5 homers, 28 runs batted in. Dave Martinez on deck. No score, second inning. Base hit, right center field. Bernie Williams hustles over to cut it off, and Jordan will hold with a single. First hit for the Braves against Messina.
Well, we talked about switch hitters, and the other great switch hitter on the Yankee side is Bernie Williams. And watch again. Watch how smoothly his swing is from the right side. Look at that, very smooth. Now watch from the right side. You'll see him kind of force it right at the end, try to get left side, trying to get through it right there, trying to get his barrel of the bat through the zone. And that tells you that both of these guys were more natural hitters coming as kids. They were both better right-handed hitters. And for a long period of time, Bernie Williams, most of his power was from the right side. No one wanted to pitch to him when he was hitting right-handed.
Here now is Dave Martinez. Martinez is the hottest Braves hitter right now. As Jordan gets back to the bag at first. Martinez, a veteran. This is his 16th year in the big leagues. He's hitting .373, but only 83 at-bats. This is only the 14th game that he has been a starting player, which is a new role for him. He's always been, at the very least, a utility player. Jordan runs the semi-pitch out. Oliver right there with the throw, and the tag by Soriano. Jordan is out by plenty. Nice play by Oliver.
Well, they wanted to test Oliver because he hasn't been catching here on a regular basis. But let's see, Jordan doesn't have a big lead and really did not get a great jump, but it was a perfect pitch to throw on a fastball up and away to a left-handed hitter, and right there on the money. And Jordan is tagged out easily.
So 2 down and nobody on. And Martinez, who's not a power hitter, his best shot to get an RBI is with a runner at second rather than one at first. Now he's got no runners. 1 ball, 1 strike. But Joe, that pitch was kind of a... It wasn't a pitch out, and yet it was almost like a pitch out, right?
Yeah, fastball up and away.
Right center field. That's into the alleyway, and it will roll through to the warning track. Bernie Williams will have to actually play it off the wall, and Martinez is going to dig for third, and he's going to make it standing up.
And doesn't that always happen? That's why a lot of managers will not let players try to steal bases, because they always seem to, if they get thrown out, the guy seems to get a base hit. But I thought it was a good play to try to do something to Messina to throw his rhythm off, because Martinez is not a pull hitter where he uses that hole between first and second when the runner's at first. Here's a fastball away, and he drives it in the right center field. Martinez, like a lot of these hitters, they like the ball out over the plate.
So 2 consecutive hits for the Braves, but no runs yet. Runner at third, 2 down. B.J. Surhoff, Messina's former Baltimore Orioles teammate, takes a strike on the outside. Surhoff up to 250. He was another Brave who was off to a real slow start, but he's hit .343 for the last month or so. And quickly, Messina is ahead of him 0-2. But, you know, I want to get back to this thing about that pitch out that wasn't a pitch out. I mean, sometimes teams, they think they might have another team sign, and instead of pitching out, which sort of like gives it away that you have the sign, they'll show that semi-pitch out in case they do have the sign without necessarily giving it away. What do you think? Is there some inside baseball there? Did Joe Torre think he had the sign? Just off the outside. 1-2 to Surhoff.
Well, I have to tell you, the Dodgers used to do that all the time. Don Sutton, Rick Sutcliffe, when those guys were on the mound. If you took off, it was an automatic pitch away. I mean, they would throw the fastball up and away when the runner would break. That pitch is that is like a pitch out.
1-2 to Surhoff. And he went with the high hard one looking for the strikeout, but Surhoff fought it off.
Even the one thing I've seen from both of these pitchers so far is they have not left the ball in the middle of the plate. Both of them have been on the outside corner, inside corner, or up. They have not left the ball in the middle of the plate yet.
Greg Maddux watching his opponent, Mike Messina, trying to get out of a jam here. That breaking ball down the left field line. A long run. Justice, and the ball is into the crowd. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Well, I'm sure this is a little odd for a lot of dyed-in-the-wool Baltimore Orioles fans to see the guy who was their ace pitcher for many years facing a guy who was one of the most popular players in their club for the last few years, and neither one in an Orioles uniform.
Signs of the time, John.
It's like seeing you and Pete Rose go head-to-head.
Right.
After you both had left the Reds.
That happened. I was in Houston and he was in Philadelphia, so it does happen.
1 ball and 2 strikes to Surhoff. He's battling it out here with Messina. Martinez at third. That is a base hit. So the Braves go ahead as Messina could not put away his old friend B.J. Surhoff. 1-0 Atlanta.
That was an interesting pitch sequence that he threw to B.J. He just kept throwing him fastballs and fastballs. After B.J. gets behind with 2 strikes, he's always going the other way. He throws him this fastball away, and look how he stays right on it. Watch his head and everything. Stays right there, and you can see he's making a conscious effort to hit the ball the other way. I was a little surprised that he didn't throw him maybe a changeup or another curveball.
Now here's Wes Helms. B.J. Surhoff, a career .281 hitter. 36 years old, born in the Bronx, although he still makes his offseason home in the Baltimore area in Maryland. B.J. Surhoff.
Well, you would think that Messina playing with Surhoff, it seems to do that quite often. But, I mean, you could just watch his approach right there, and you could see that he was fighting everything off the left field.
Wes Helms, young Brave, high in the air to right center field deep, but Bernie Williams has room. But the Braves score first. Maddox has the lead as David Justice comes up.
Here, Sports Center in-game, next cell.
All right, then the standings in the American League East at the moment, with the Red Sox having won that one, Yanks are a game and a half out. Over in the National League East, the Braves are 3.5 out as the former Brave, David Justice, faces his former teammate, Greg Maddox, and takes ball 1. In the National League East, the Phillies up top. But Atlanta coming hard from the outside. The Mets even won today. On the outside. Now, you know what I mean? I mean, they've been playing poorly.
Well, oh, okay.
They finally gained some ground. Haven't been gaining much ground lately. That's all I meant.
Oh. I was going to say, we're going to do the Yankees and the Mets. We're going to do the Yankees and the Mets next week in Shea Stadium. I wouldn't want you to go there and people all upset with you before we get there. Because you know half the people are going to be upset with us anyway, the Yankee fans.
You're the one who's burying me already. I'm just doing it for your own good.
Yeah, I said I'm doing it for your own good.
Thanks a lot. David Justice high in the air into left center field. And Andrew Jones for 1 away. Justice, they've had a hard time getting him going. Justice hitting only .254, and he's been slumping again. He's been terrible with men in scoring position, hitting below 200 in those RBI chances.
John, I was watching the games last week, you know, doing scouting these 2 teams, and Justice has started to swing the bat well. And then he goes right back into, you know, not getting the bat through the hitting zone like David Justice normally does. He's a little late there again.
Scott Brocious having a fine season. Off the outside, Brocious, .319 average. And among the Yankees regular players, that's the best batting average on the club. 8 home runs. And he fouls this one away from Maddox. 1 ball and 1 strike. It's the area known as Monument Park. Those are the numbers of Yankee greats over the decades that have been retired permanently.
There are 2 8s retired there. Yogi got retired twice.
Man, he was good.
He was good.
No, Bill Dickey.
Big Dickey was the first one, actually.
2-1 the count to Scott Brocious. Hey, and it's cool to be the Yankee manager. I mean, there's a lot of pressure, but it's kind of cool. He was down there in the historic manager's office at Yankee Stadium, and while we were talking to him, Yogi Berra called him.
Right.
2-2 the count. To invite him out for a golf game. 2 balls, 2 strikes the count. Greg Maddox, who he knows about the history of this ballpark. That's why it's his favorite park. He says it's cool to pitch here. This is Rafael Furcal with a great arm and a great play. Wow.
The shortstop that I watched today, I mean, they have such strong and accurate arms. It's amazing, because this is the toughest play for a shortstop to have to make, going deep in the hole, fielding a ground ball, because first of all, he has to catch it. Now he can't plant. He just fires a strike all the way across the diamond. I mean, he's got something on it. Watch. Doesn't plant, throws off balance, and that throw has something on it. Look, it's not dropping. It's not a fly ball. And Cox says, got him. He's seen that before.
Yeah, we're used to seeing that. That's a regular play for him. Here's Joe Oliver. He's wearing Lou Pinella's old number. Now, when Oliver's Reds won the World Series in 1990 against Oakland, his manager was Lou Pinella, who came to prominence as a fine hitter for the Yankees, wearing number 14, which before him, another great series of Yankee clubs was worn by Bill Skowron, Moose. 2-0 the count to Joe Oliver. That's out of play. Now, you know, Joe, this Atlanta defense behind Maddox, you look at Andrew Jones at center and Brian Jordan in right, both with great speed. And you've got Fort Kyle over there at shortstop. And then they got some guys that can go catch the ball.
Yes.
Brian Jordan. 2-1 to Oliver. Deep in the center field. Andrew Jones has to race back. Still going, still going. It is gone. And into the black seats. The second day in a row, those far distant seats in center have been reached. Posada yesterday, and Oliver only the 17th man since they remodeled the ballpark 25 years ago to hit one out there.
I was talking to Lee Mazzilli and Don Zimmer about how the ball was carrying yesterday. They say that when the weather warms up like this, the ball really carries well here. And this ball is just drilled to straightaway center field. Fastball toward the outside part of the plate. It was up, but even Oliver knows it's gone as soon as he hits it. And look how deep it goes. I mean, this is quite a few rows up in the bleachers there in center field.
Now the batter is Alfonso Soriano, the Yankee rookie. The count is 1-1.
John, I want to correct something we talked about last week. I said last week I'd like to have a puck and be one-on-one with Patrick Roy.
Yeah?
I changed my mind. After watching him last night, I think he could only have to hear me coming. He wouldn't even have to see me coming, and he could block it. So I don't want to go one-on-one with Patrick Roy. I just wanted to straighten that out.
But I thought that you were saying that you'd had a dream about that.
Well, I did, but I woke up now, and I'm apologizing.
Then I thought later, you didn't mean like it was a dream of yours.
No.
You meant it was like a dream, like a nightmare.
It is a nightmare to think of going one-on-one with Patrick. As the New Jersey Devils found out last night. I was hoping
we'd be able to set that up maybe in Patrick's offseason. Get you on skates and get some cameras in there. 2-1 to Alfonso Soriano. Very fast runner. And he fouls that one off. 2-2 the count. He has only walked 5 times this year.
That's a better ratio than he was on a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. He's never getting a walk. 2-2 the count to Soriano. But Joe Torre said that he has sort of made a little adjustment and realizes now that every first pitch is not always a strike. For Kyle, Soriano's shooting at the line, but for Kyle with that great arm throws him out. Braves score, and the Yankees equalize. Now the Braves coming up in the 3rd inning in a 1-1 game. Midtown Manhattan from the MetLife Blimp. Snoopy 1, which is with us tonight. Here we go to the Atlanta 3rd inning, a 1-1 score. Mike Messina. And the off-speed pitch is a called strike to Paul Bacco. There's the Snoopy 1 cruising the skies, providing our aerial coverage of the Yankees-Braves game. The Blimp typically cruises at a speed of 35 miles an hour at an altitude of 1,200 feet. The MetLife Blimp in the big city. 0-2 now to Bacco. Kilvio Veras, the leadoff man, and then Rafael Furcal will follow. 1-1 in the 3rd.
And John, Paul Bacco, of course, is catching tonight in place of Javi Lopez, who is more offensive-minded.
Ooh, that breaking ball. Missed somewhere.
And John, we saw an interesting statistic that said that Greg Maddox's average .4 earned runs per game produced by his team than the other starters on his team have received, which says that.
And there's Tino Martinez, Messina covering, out number 1.
Which says that when Javi Lopez is out of the lineup, because he doesn't catch Maddox, that's taking almost, you know, some portion of their offense away, because he has been a good offensive player for the Braves, but he does not catch Greg Maddox.
And that's not just this year.
That's over 5 years, right?
Well, this is the 7th year.
7th year, yeah.
That we're talking about. That run support has been nearly a half a run a game less when he pitches than when everybody else pitches. Plus, Javi Lopez is one of the Braves who's had great success against Messina in the past. Slider from Messina for a called strike to Kilvio Veras, who struck out his first time.
But when you take a bat like Javi Lopez is out of the lineup, you are going to produce fewer runs as a team.
Down the left field line. And the catch by David Justice.
David made a fine play. He got a good jump on this ball. It's slashing away from him. And he really didn't have to slide, but I think he did that to protect himself, because he was going full speed, and if he continued to run, he'd run into this the wall that is right down the line here. See, the ball is slicing away from him, and if he continues to run, he's going to run out of room, because those stands come in very quickly down there. So a nice play there by Justice. You can see the head of one of the fans there because he was getting close.
2 down. Here is Rafael Furcal. Furcal got robbed by Bernie Williams, who did make a diving catch. He shows front, takes a called strike on the outside from Messina. 0-1 the count. 1-1 in the 3rd inning. Furcal, who last year broke the all-time stolen base record for a 19-year-old that had been set by Ty Cobb. Well, he gets on base.
Yeah, but that hurt
the hard way here.
right on the toe.
He is in some severe pain.
Well, you do not have any protection there. Now watch, he runs up the bunt. Look at his foot. He plants his foot right on the toe. I mean, truthfully, that's how you get your toes broken, if the ball hits you right on top like that. And he is in severe pain.
So they're investigating Furcal. Meanwhile, other games going on tonight in Major League Baseball. Here's Brian Kenny with an update.
John Joe go to Kansas City in Arizona. Erubio Durazo, limited at bats, loads of power. This a 3-run home run. He's hitting and slugging .679 going in. Made it 4-1 on Dan Reichert and the Royals there in the 3rd inning. John?
All right, the Diamondbacks first place in the National League West. One of the oddities of the interleague play this year, the Diamondbacks, unlike the other teams in the National League West, are playing some interleague series against American League Central Division teams. They got a series with Kansas City this weekend. They're also going to play Detroit. We've sort of gotten away from the concept that in vying for first place among teams that everybody plays the same schedule to see who's the best team. Everybody has different schedules now.
Correct. John, when the interleague play first came up, I enjoyed it, and I thought it was great. I think we're kind of losing a little bit of this flavor now, because I think should be more regional interleague play. You know, the Giants and the A's, the Mets and the Yankees.
You like that?
I like that.
You'd like to keep that?
Yes. But I think, again, I don't think they should play as many games, you know, in interleague play. If you have a rival, you know, the Texas Rangers and the Houston Astros, you know, things like that, they should play each other. But I'm not so sure that, you know, Texas playing the San Francisco Giants is a great deal anymore.
So you don't think that there's that much interest in Arizona at Kansas City? Andrew Jones to shortstop. Jeter to Soriano for the force out on Furcal. Jeter and Furcal, the 2 shortstops, commiserate. 1-1 the score. Top of the order, Jeter coming up for New York. Baseball presented by Nextel. The Braves won, the Yankees won. Last of the third inning. Coming up on Wednesday Night Baseball, we'll see the great Ichiro, who hit a home run today. Mariners won again. They're 48-13, and now they're going to Denver. They're red hot. Ichiro's red hot, and now they're going to go to Colorado. Some will see the Indians and the Brewers. Then the Chicago Cubs in the Valley of the Sun to take on the Diamondbacks. The second half of our Wednesday night doubleheader. Some of you will see Anaheim and San Francisco. The home run by Ichiro today, by the way, was his 100th hit of the season. The Mariners have played 61 games. He got 100 hits already.
Well, he's a guy that doesn't walk, though, John. He swings the bat, and he just swings it well.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, but he doesn't walk often.
He does a lot of other things pretty well, too. Pretty good outfielder, pretty good arm.
And closing Ichiro to make an amazing catch. Get the flying thing, strikes one more time.
Jeter takes a called strike from Maddox. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Dave Niehaus, the outstanding voice of the Seattle Mariners. Nobody is more popular in their city broadcasting Major League Baseball than Dave Niehaus is in the Pacific Northwest.
John, Ichiro.
1-2 the count. Back past Maddox. Furcal's got it. And throws Jeter out. Jeter is 0 for 2.
Nice play there by Furcal. But everyone is, talking about Ichiro, and rightfully so, but Brett Boone has been the key to that ball club as far as I'm concerned, driving in all the runs. We see Furcal go deep on the grass behind second, and once he catches it, you're out, because he has such a strong and accurate arm.
I mean, Boone had, what, 65 RBIs?
More than even the great Manny up in Boston. I mean, he's leading the major leagues in RBIs.
Paul O'Neill hit a double to deep left center his first time. Got a base hit to right center this time. Just out of the reach of Kilvio Veras. And O'Neill thriving in that number 2 spot in the order. 2 for 2. Now Bernie Williams comes up with 1 out and 1 on. Bernie made a fine defensive play earlier in the game. Robbed Furcal here in the first inning.
Outstanding, brother. Outstanding. Nice job. Outstanding.
Lee Mazzilli wearing a microphone for us tonight.
Mazzilli was a pretty good outfielder himself. He could make some catches.
I mean, was he that good?
He was pretty good, John. No, really, he was a good outfielder. Very good outfielder.
Here's Bernie Williams. Bernie walked his first time. Seattle. You got Ichiro at the top. But then you got Edgar. Edgar Martinez is doing well. Well, now, if he's Ichiro, I'm just going to call him Edgar.
And Brett, huh?
No. He's Boone. The great Boone. And John Olerud between Edgar and Boone. Hard one hop to second. Veras to Furcal. Furcal to Helms. Double play. The ball hard. Got nothing for it. Chipper Jones coming up. It's 1-1. There's Yankee Stadium, New York, New York. That's where we are tonight for ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. The Braves won. The Yankees won. And for Atlanta, there is Chipper Jones.
Chippy, okay. I like that.
Chipper. And a ground ball to second. Soriano juggles it, but gets him. So Chipper is 0 for 2. During batting practice, Chipper was very chatty as he wore a microphone for us. Let's go back.
Did they let people sit out here? That I got a souvenir yesterday. Playing American League style game for about 3.5, 4 hours. Y'all got to give me a Larry tent, man. I'll try and hit y'all a couple. They love me here.
Brian Jordan, the hitter, taking ball 1 from Mike Messina. And they always, at Shea Stadium, they would chant Larry, because they read one time that Chipper Jones, whose real name is Larry, doesn't like that name. Of course, on the other hand, it probably doesn't bug him too much because in his own clubhouse, Greg Maddux incessantly calls him Larry. 2-0 the count to Brian Jordan. And that is down and away. 3-0 the count. Dave Martinez is on deck. Jordan hit a single his first time. There's Maddux. And Chipper Jones, National League MVP the year before last. 3-0 the count. And Messina just misses on the outside. Ball 4. So now Martinez comes up. Martinez has been so hot lately in his 16th year in the big leagues. He hit a triple his first time at bat here tonight. And he was then knocked in with 2 down on a base hit by B.J. Surhoff as we check out the ESPN game track. But then Joe Oliver in the last of the second launched one against Maddux into the center field black bleachers out there. Since the stadium reopened after the remodeling in 1976, this is the first time that homers have been hit into that hitter's backdrop section out there in consecutive days. Here's Martinez, and he takes a strike. But Martinez has been so hot. Now in his 16th year in the big leagues. Brian Jordan said yesterday, I hope I play that long so that I can get to be that good. So that I can know that much. And it's amazing he's hit that well in what is really, in some ways, his most difficult season, because he used to play a lot. You know, he was at least a platoon player. But now he's just a guy off the bench. Plays very sporadically. Changeup over the outside for a called strike 2, and it is 0-2 to Martinez. Since May the 10th, he's hitting .444. It's a month's time. 19 games, and a lot of those games as a pinch hitter. He's had 24 pinch hit at-bats. 0-2 the count. 1-1 the score. Now Martinez backs away. Jordan back to the bag at first. Now in the same kind of a situation in the second inning, not the same count, but Jordan was at first, 1 out. Martinez came up, and Jordan tried to steal second. He was thrown out by Oliver. The outside with the fastball. Now I know in his Baltimore days, there were rarely bases stolen against Messina. He's pretty quick to the plate. He doesn't have that big leg kick. And he had a pretty quick move to first. What do you think, Joe? It still look that good to you in terms of...
Well, his movement to the plate is pretty distinctive, and meaning, boom, he's gone. You think he's faster than he really is, and his delivery is his motion.
1-2 strike. Martinez again calling timeout. So Martinez playing a little game with Messina here or what? Twice he's backed away calling timeout. Foul ball. Still 1-2 strikes.
Everything Messina does in his delivery is quick. So if you're the base runner, you think the delivery is quick to the plate, but it really isn't. His first movement is quick. But like all good pitchers, he gathers himself and gets his rhythm together before he releases the ball. That's why it is normally easier to steal bases off of the better pitchers, because they have better rhythm.
1-2 the count. And he gets the strikeout, the foul tip, into the glove of Oliver. Martinez is gone, 2 down. Tomorrow on ESPN at 8 Eastern Time, a special ESPN Classic presentation of the 2000 U.S. Open Golf Championship. Relive Tiger's triumphant final round. For more, log on to ESPN.com. Here's B.J. Surhoff now. He singled home the Atlanta run back in the second inning. Diving back to the bag, Jordan. Now, Surhoff is not what you'd call a power hitter per se, but he will occasionally launch a home run when he was in Baltimore for several years. He would hit up around 20 home runs a year. And it is 0-1. So when Messina gets a strikeout, instead of posting a K, they post Bullwinkle. Bullwinkle the Moose. So the effect of Rocket J. Squirrel and Bullwinkle the Moose on American culture is pervasive. It's everywhere. Now, you were busy, and there are other... Now, I don't get that one. Desi Arnaz. Explain it to me, Lucy. And back to the bag at first is Jordan. So Messina, Moose, Desi. Is there one fan apparently likes to refer to him as Desi, or maybe Ricky Ricardo. 1 ball, 1 strike to B.J. Surhoff. That fastball off the outside. Well, Messina got out ahead of Surhoff back in the 2nd inning. Kept pounding him with fastballs, and finally Surhoff took one to the outside and hit the base hit to left field. This time Messina is working behind him. 2 balls and a strike. Jordan at first. And the breaking ball. Strike 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And you can see what happens. You throw a curveball when you're behind. He threw fastballs when he was ahead to try to get Surhoff. So he figured Surhoff was looking for a fastball in that situation.
2 balls, 2 strikes. 2 down. And a high fastball, but he fouls it into the upper deck to Surhoff to stay alive. This is the view from out in left field at the left field foul pole, 318 feet, but the fence curves out quickly. And this is the view from the area out in the beginnings of Monument Park, where all of the numbers, the retired numbers in Yankee history, have been displayed. 2-2. And the breaking ball, he just got a piece of that one.
And that's why I was surprised the last time that with 2 strikes after he fouled off a couple of pitches, why not try to get him to chase something as Messina did there.
Years old, out of Stanford University. He graduated in less than 4 years at Stanford. 2-2. Popped up. Brocious comes over. And this time, Messina gets his old Baltimore teammate. 1 man left for the Yankees. Martinez, Posada, and Justice coming up. It is 1-1. Baseball from New York. And Greg Maddux on the mound. We asked Leo Mazzoni, his pitching coach, just what it is that makes Greg Maddux so effective.
He has the movement with the comeback pitch that goes to the inside corner of the left-hand hitter. Plus, he can change the direction and cut it in on him. He has the same thing on the other side of the plate, and he can command that extremely well. He can also use his straight change on both sides of the plate and commands that extremely well. And you start adding all these factors up with movement, change of speeds, location, great athletic ability, and the smartest individual I've ever been around as far as baseball. I think he's smarter than any manager or pitching coach I've ever been around.
I'm sure Bobby Cox likes that.
Well, and he also, if Tino Martinez is going to hit one 400 feet, he makes him hit it to straightaway center.
Okay.
Which is what Tino just did when we were talking with Leo Mazzoni. Tino hit one pretty well on that first pitch. Here is Jorge Posada. He struck out his first time. And Silvio Veras throws him out. 2 men gone. First ball swinging for the Yankees here in the 4th inning.
And one of the reasons that Greg Maddux pitches short games is because he throws strikes and he throws fastballs. When you throw fastballs, you will get the hitters to swing at a lot of first pitch fastballs because they like to hit the fastball. But his has movement on it, as the ground ball indicated there by Posada. That one sunk. The other one to Tino Martinez was not a sinking fastball. It was more a riding fastball, but it stayed in on him, and he had to push it off.
David Justice, fastball over the outside, strike one.
He doesn't have trick pitches. A lot of guys throw a lot of different trick pitches, and they try to get to that trick pitch by setting you up or getting ahead in the count. Maddux uses his fastball, and he just changes speeds on his fastball, changes location.
That one is hit a mile. Is it going to be fair? It is foul into the upper deck.
See, he changes the location again. He threw a fastball over the outside edge to Justice, and this one was a fastball inside, and Justice just reacted a little too quickly.
Oh, and 2 the count.
Now watch, this pitch is the flawless well foul.
Oh, and 2 the count to Justice. One to one the score, last of the fourth. Inside but low. 1 ball and 2 strikes. David Justice, the National League Rookie of the Year, 1990. Oh, that's right there. Strike 3 call on the inside. Maddux has a 6-pitch inning against the Yankees. We go to the 5th inning. 1-1. Right, and here it's the Braves 1, the Yankees 1. Top of the 5th inning from Yankee Stadium. Wes Helms leads off for Atlanta against Mike Messina, and that is a foul. I believe the all-time record for home runs in a season by a pitcher is 9. Wes Helms. Wes, what did I say? Wes Helms?
Yes, that's who's hitting.
Wes. I beg your pardon. Wes is not a pitcher. Not even close. Wes Farrell back in the 30s. Wes Farrell had 9 home runs in a season, and I think that's the all-time record for a pitcher. And his brother was a pretty good catcher, Rick Farrell. There used to be a big argument in the family as to which one was actually the better hitter, though. 1 ball, 1 strike the count to Wes Helms. Down the left field line. Justice all the way to the warning track where he makes the catch.
Well, he got in on West. That jammed him. He hit it to the proper part of the ballpark, the shortest distance, but he got jammed. You see the target right on the inside corner, and it's actually a little bit off the inside corner. That's the point. If you miss, you're going inside. If you miss farther inside. Don't let it drift back out over the plate.
So 1 down, and here is Paul Bacco hitting in the 9th position. Braves in the American League playing the rules. Much the of Greg Maddux is a pretty good hitter. Pretty good bunter. Does a lot of things well. There's Maddux. Now, he still took batting practice tonight, just as he would have had he been in the lineup. And the count 1 ball, 1 strike to Bacco. And Maddux hit one over the 399 marker in left center. And he said, that's the best, deepest fly ball I've ever hit. So he was enjoying himself here at historic Yankee Stadium. That is a fair ball. Hits the railing and ricochets into shallow left. Justice to second base. Offline, backed up by Tino. And safe at second is Bacco.
Well, Justice looked like he had a good shot at him, but the throw to second was so difficult to handle, Soriano could not make the catch and make the tag. And watch, this ball is inside the line, and it is curving so sharply that it hits the railing, bounces back out. Now, Justice gets to it very quickly, and he actually has a good shot at him. You'll see the ball go past Soriano before Bacco even gets there, but it was a tough throw to handle, and Soriano could not come up with it.
So a double for Bacco, and now leadoff man Kilvio Veras to try and get him home. 1-1 in the 5th inning. Braves have 4 hits against Messina. Veras, the leadoff man, has struck out. Lifetime. In the last 31 years, there have been only 8 pitchers who have won as many of their first 300 starts as Messina has. He's won 152 games, and he's on a pretty illustrious list. Slider misses. 1 ball, 1 strike. Roger Clemens, his current teammate. Ron Guidry, former Yankee. Tom Seaver, Dwight Gooden, Jim Palmer, Jack Morris. They all won just a little bit more in their first 300 starts than Messina. And he won as many as Ferguson Jenkins, a Hall of Famer. That's a foul out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. It's the area they call Monument Park. That's the monument to George Herman Ruth, Babe Ruth, and Miller Huggins, whose name was in the newspapers here in New York a couple of days ago, and Joe Torre equaled Miller Huggins' lifetime total of managerial victories. Slider for the New York Yankees. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Kilvio Veras. Look out. That's back to the screen. No, it hit him. It hit Kilvio Veras. So
Hams will have to, well, Veras, I guess, I don't know. Maybe Veras wasn't sure. I think Veras is trying to say it didn't hit him.
Well, he's pointing him to first base.
Well, Veras was trying to say it didn't hit him, and it was a wild pitch.
Meanwhile, the trainer wants to have a look at Paul Bacco, who's over at second base.
And he wasn't the one that was hit.
Well, is that kind of weird that you got hit? I mean, you're a leadoff man. Your job is to get on base.
Well, but he's
and you got on base, and then you say, no, are you kidding me?
No, I understand his point. He's saying this is a wild pitch, so now you'd have a runner at third base with less than 2 outs is what he's trying to do. See, if that ball gets away, Helms goes to third, and he's still hitting with a 2-ball, no strike count and a runner at third base. Instead of now we have runners at first and second, but you can see clearly he got hit, and he reacted, and then he thought about, well, if I were to let this go and it's a wild pitch, I have a runner at third.
Now, I've seen guys who, a second or two after not getting hit, they started jumping around in pain like they did get hit. But have you ever seen a guy jump around in pain and then say that no, I didn't get hit? That was weird, wasn't it? Bobby Cox out to get the word from the trainer. And Bacco seems to be hurting out there, and they're going to send in a runner for him. Meanwhile, next Sunday night, Derek Jeter, Mike Piazza on the same field will be at Shea here in New York, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific. The Yankees and the Mets on ESPN.
Nuestros partidos de béisbol están disponibles en español a través de ESPN Deportes. Llame a su operador de cable local o DirecTV. Para más información, conéctese a espndeportes.com.
And that was Ernesto Jerez telling us that all Sunday night telecasts are available in Spanish on ESPN Deportes. There's Mark DeRosa in as the pinch runner for Bacco. Here now is Rafael Furcal. And that's ball 1 from Messina. He's back in a little bit of trouble now.
Well, let's see if Bacco, we can see how he injured himself sliding into second base. Well, it looks like he grabs his right knee there, or hamstring.
So Maybe he pulled the or strained the hammy or something on his way to second. For Kyle, 0 for 1. He was hit by pitches last time. Now, that was just weird, though, Joe. I mean, think about it. It looked like Kilvio Veras got hit by the pitch on the toe because he was jumping around in pain. And then he said, I didn't get hit. Are you nuts? Meanwhile, he's, after jumping around in pain and claiming he wasn't hit, they make him go to first. And it was the guy at second that they take out because he's hurt. So Kilvio Veras gets hit by the pitch, and the runner at second is the guy that gets removed from the game because he's hurt. There's the pinch runner, Mark DeRosa, now on second base. And Kilvio Veras at first base. And for Kyle trying to get somebody home here. He was robbed of a hit by Bernie Williams in the first inning. Hit by a pitch on the toe in the third. A breaking ball foul into the crowd off to the left. 2-2 to Forcal. Andrew Jones on deck to get into the real power of the Braves after Forcal. Javier Lopez putting the equipment on. The Braves' regular catcher. One to one the score in the fifth inning. And he changed up on him, but Forcal was able to fight that one off. So he is really giving Messina a workout here. Forcal, in his second year in the big leagues, he's only 20 years old. Mike Messina has thrown 16 of those pitches in this inning. Only one out. Fastball into right field, a base hit. And DeRosa is going to be waved home by Ned Yost. O'Neill throwing. Not in time, and everybody moves up. To third base, Veras, and to second base, the very speedy Forcal. And Atlanta is leading 2-1.
This is interesting here in that Paul O'Neill makes the throw to the plate. But the throw is not too high. But watch where Tino Martinez is. He chases the ball in the hole, but he doesn't get in deep enough. If he's closer to home plate, Forcal could not go. But the throw wasn't a bad throw. I mean, the throw should have been able to be cut off, and they let it go all the way through. So it's not a bad play from O'Neill. That ball was low enough that it should have been cut off if Martinez would have been back closer to the plate.
Now Andrew Jones, 2-1 Atlanta. And that sweeping breaking ball outside. 1 ball and no strikes. They got a chance now for a big inning. Andrew Jones with Chipper Jones on deck. Andrew with 15 home runs for the year. The infield is back up the middle. Tino Martinez pulled in at first. And the third baseman, Brocious, is close enough that he can make a play on Veras. Andrew Jones is hitting .327 for the year. There you see how they play the defense. .327 for the year with men in scoring position. Wow. A little bit low, I guess.
John, let's take another look at the throw, and I'll show you what I mean. Now watch this. See, this throw is low. Now see where Tino is. He's here instead of being back here. If he's back here, he can cut the ball and throw to second base. But because he's up there, he has to let it go all the way to the plate.
And a curveball for a strike. 2-1 to Andrew Jones.
Normally, the cutoff man, he gets closer to home plate, and then he can go get the ball if he wants to. He can go forward toward the outfielder to cut the ball off.
Andrew's numbers with men in scoring position. 0 for 2 tonight against Messina. And the fastball blew it right by him. That was not much of a cut on a 2-1 swing there, was it?
Well, he was looking for a breaking ball, and he threw him a fastball. When you see a guy swing like that, you know that he was looking for another pitch, and the fastball just got on him so quickly there was nothing to do.
Veras and Forcal, the runners, at third and at second, respectively. High in the air to right field. O'Neill. Medium deep right. Here's the tag by Veras, who's got excellent speed. The ball is cut off by Martinez, but it didn't matter. Scoring is Veras, and easily over to third. It was Forcal, so it is 3-1 Atlanta. the RBI for Andrew Jones.
And a good job by Andrew. I mean, to get the ball to the outfield after he had 2 strikes on him. Fastball up and away, was trying to go away. That ball actually was in the middle of the plate, and that's probably why Andrew was able to put it in play. It was supposed to be a fastball away, but this ball is pretty deep. And O'Neill keeps the ball down. Tino is deeper this time, as you can see, and he cuts it off.
And that shot was from the MetLife blimp. For over 14 years, MetLife blimps have been providing aerial coverage of sporting and special events. Snoopy One bringing you the aerial shots tonight. Look to the skies as MetLife blimp visits a town near you. And they change up to Chipper Jones. Now, this is interesting. You've got Chipper Jones, the switch hitter, the former National League MVP. First base wide open. The right-handed batting Brian Jordan on deck. But they're going after Chipper Jones after a visit from Mel Stottlemyre, the pitching coach.
Well, he didn't really go after him. He threw him a changeup low, and Chipper chased it.
Alfonso Soriano throws him out. And that ends the inning. But the Braves get 2. 3-1 Atlanta. Scott Brosius coming up for the Yankees. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel. Atlanta 3, the Yankees 1 as Scott Brosius leads off against Greg Maddux, who throws him a called strike over the outside. Brosius was thrown out on a brilliant play by Rafael Furcal, the young Atlanta shortstop, in the 2nd inning. Now, Maddux has started to make it look ridiculously easy. In each of the previous 2 innings, he retired, as we see Javi Lopez now in the game for Atlanta. In both the 3rd and 4th innings, Maddux retired the Yankees by throwing only 6 pitches in each inning. And that will go back out of play.
Well, it'll be interesting, John, because as we talked earlier, Javi Lopez does not catch Maddux that often. And Maddux had begun to get on a roll. Let's see if he can continue with the change of catchers. So I think the pitcher should be able to pitch to just about anyone because he can just call the pitches himself.
Well, especially Greg Maddux.
Right. But there is a certain camaraderie between a catcher and a pitcher.
Breaking ball, check swing, the appeal. No swing, says Paul Emmel, the first base umpire. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Yankees would need a win to keep pace with first place Boston in the American League East. The Braves would need a win to gain ground on first place Philadelphia in the National League East. Red Sox beat the Phillies earlier today at Fenway Park. 2 balls, 2 strikes. And the Red Sox got real bad news this week when they lost their fine catcher, Jason Varitek. He might be gone for 3 months. He got a broken bone in his elbow area. That one deep down the left field line, but foul. 2-2. I mean, Varitek has been doing everything. You know, he's catching the knuckleballer Tim Wakefield all the time, and he's catching Hideo Nomo with that splitter that bounces the dirt all. He's got 3 pass balls the whole year.
Well, a lot of people, you know, think that he's maybe one of the best defensive catchers in the league, you know, other than Ivan Rodriguez, of course, but he's an excellent receiver as well as a good hitter.
And that is a major loss for the Red Sox, who already have been playing without Nomar Garcia-Parra the whole year. Too far in. So Maddux now with a full count to Brosius. 3-2. Bobby Cox, who at one time was the 3rd baseman for the Yankees. 1968. He played 3rd here in the Bronx. The 3rd, high hop to Chipper Jones. And Brosius is retired, 1 away. Joe, pardon me 1 second. I just wanted to mention this.
Okay, go ahead.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. And be sure and log on to MLB.com today to cast your Radio Shack All-Star online ballot and vote for your favorite All-Stars. Major League Baseball, connect with it. And although I don't think you should vote for your favorites, I think you should vote for the guys you think deserve to be there. Let's put it that way. Right?
Well, if he's your favorite, I think you should split the ballot.
Well, I mean, if
he's your favorite and you want to see him in that game, I think you still have to vote for him at least once.
That one is foul by Joe Oliver, who launched one into the center field bleachers his first time.
But I agree, when we sit down to fill out our ballot, we look for players who are the best at their position at that particular time. This is the fastball that he hit. See that ball toward the outside corner, but not quite out there. And he goes way over the 408 sign in straightaway center field.
Big fly. Kilvio Veras catches this one. The second baseman, so Oliver is gone. 2 down. Meanwhile, here's an update with Brian Kenny.
John, leaders of the NL West starting to beat up on Kansas City. Max Suzuki comes on in relief in the 4th. He gave up a walk, a single, and this 3-run homer from Luis Gonzalez. He has 26 now. Astros and Rangers. Tony Eusebio puts this deep on Doug Davis. Astros have a 3-2 lead in the 6th. John?
All right, so we got 2 other ball games going. We'll keep you posted on those. We're in the Bronx, New York. Greg Maddux to Alfonso Soriano. Too far in, 1 ball and no strike. But I want to get back to this topic. In other words, let's say that you look at the ballot, you think, oh, there's really 2 great choices for that position. But the one guy is my favorite. All right, well, vote for your favorite then. But I mean, if your favorite is not doing well or not, like, I mean, Ken Griffey Jr., for instance. I mean, he hadn't even played.
I'll still vote for him.
Because
just kidding.
Because he's
just kidding.
Now, I'm not saying that when a guy is a great player like Griffey's been, that even if he's been hurt a lot, he doesn't belong there. Right. I mean, as a fan, I'd like to see him there. I'm just, as a bit of advice to the voters.
Okay.
I mean, try to vote for the guys you think deserve to be there. And if there's one of your favorites, it's a close call, we'll go with your favorite.
Okay.
How about that?
I'm going to let you slide on that. That's fine. That's a pretty good explanation. All that said, are you going to tell us who you would vote for or what?
What position?
Are you going to...
Soriano. Off the glove. That one took a real weird hop. It was like an onside kick. And Wes Helms suddenly had to dive for it when it looked like it was going to come right to him. And Soriano gets the base hit.
Well, it looked like it was hit right off the end, and that puts reverse spin on it. And when he hits the dirt, it goes back the other way. Well, actually, it just hit the grass and goes the other way. Well, Bobby was looking for another 1, 2, 3 innings, see? Because he knows that Maddux gets on a roll that he can close this out. And he was looking for 1, 2, 3, but he doesn't get it.
3-1 Atlanta. Here's Derek Jeter. Jeter had not been hitting with much power this year. 5 home runs. Remember, he got injured in spring training. Was not ready to play when the season began. And then when he did begin, he was not at peak efficiency because it had been, I think it was a hamstring injury, a leg injury anyway. You see Soriano is a base-stealing threat. So Jeter's legs were not yet at peak efficiency when the season, when he first started playing. Soriano starts to go and then goes back. The throw by Lopez not in time. That was the most exciting non-steal I've ever seen.
Well, Soriano gets out there quite a ways before he decides he's coming back. See, look at that. Look how far he was out there.
And a quick throw by Lopez, but not in time. You see Cox over there is all excited. He thought he had a chance to get it. They couldn't get it.
He is playing that game over there himself. He's playing it with body English. 1 ball, 1 strike now to Jeter. Jeter yesterday hit leadoff for the first time since the World Series last October. And you remember the day that Joe Torre a home run. Immediate dividends from that move.
John, you were talking about the fact that the Yankees, you know, a lot of their hitters are struggling now. Remember, they changed hitting instructors over the winter. Chris Chambliss had been the hitting instructor here for the last few years, and they won these championships. And now they have changed hitting instructor. And there you see the new hitting instructor, Gary Dimbo. He's the new hitting instructor for the Yankees.
Now this time Soriano is running, and Jeter pulls it foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes. 1-2 the count to Jeter. The stolen base is a prime weapon in the Yankees' arsenal,
and especially against Greg Maddux.
Maddux has allowed 11 stolen bases in the games in which he's pitched this year. That's the 3rd most for any pitcher in the National League. Last year, there were 32 steals with Maddux on the mound. That was the most off of any pitcher in the major leagues. In the right field for a base hit. Soriano to second. So Jeter with a 2-out single to follow Soriano's 2-out single. And here comes Paul O'Neill, who is 2 for 2 in the game.
And this is why Bobby Cox wasn't happy. He thought he had a 1-2-3 inning. Now he's looking at the middle of this lineup coming up. This is supposed to be a fastball down and away. He missed his spot. He got that ball up and in the middle of the plate, and Jeter fights it off the right field, and that's a good job there by Jeter with 2 strikes.
O'Neill, who had been struggling, but he has come alive in this series. He's had a double and a single tonight, and 5 hits and 9 at-bats this weekend. Right back to Maddux, and O'Neill stumbles coming out of the box, and Maddux tags him out. So an anticlimactic finish there. We'll go to the 6th inning. Brian Jordan coming up 3-1 at Yankee Stadium. The house that Ruth built. Mike Messina trailing 3-1 as Brian Jordan leads off. It's ball 1. Jordan has singled and walked in this game. 3 runs, 5 hits for Atlanta. 1 run, 5 hits for the Yankees. Into shallow right field, and O'Neill, who was looking to be injured, said he needed to remain in the game, and he comes out and make the catch, and there is 1 away.
And we were talking switch hitting earlier. Here's one of the greatest switch hitters ever. Look at Mickey Mantle, and you can see how smooth his swing is from the right side, and right there is kind of forced from the left side. Not that he wasn't a great hitter from the left side, but he was a natural right-handed hitter, had more power from the right side.
And that's the famous Yankee Stadium facade, which used to be atop the rooftop, sort of hanging over from the rooftop around Yankee Stadium. And Mickey Mantle hit the fabled home run that hit the facade in right field, the closest that any ball ever came to going completely out of Yankee Stadium.
There's the Mick. Cleat Warrior on his right.
1 strike to count to Dave Martinez. Down the right field line, O'Neill. For the Braves, after O'Neill looked like he hurt himself falling over after that swing against Maddux, seemed like they're going after him here. 2 fly balls to him. He seems to be okay. He's 2 down.
And a guy that switch hit that I'm very familiar with and saw a lot of times, Pete Rose, he was pretty comparable from both sides. Because he wasn't a power hitter, his swing was very similar from both sides. But like Mickey, like Bernie, and like Chipper, he's much stronger from the right side. But he was a good hitter from both sides. He didn't force his to get, he didn't have to force it to get the bat through from the left side.
Jay Surhoff, change up for a strike. Well, of all the switch hitters in Major League history who played enough to get 2,000 at-bats, so you had to play for a while to get that many at-bats, only 5 had lifetime averages of at least 300. That ball rolls foul by Surhoff.
Well, I know Pete Rose did.
Yeah, Pete Rose. Frankie Frisch was one. And then the others are still active. Roberto Alomar with Cleveland.
Right.
One of the best. And 2 in our ball game tonight. Chipper Jones of Atlanta and Bernie Williams.
So that tells you that Mickey Mantle didn't make it. Eddie Murray didn't have, a 300 lifetime. So a lot of great switch hitters didn't make it. Reggie Smith was also a great switch hitter. Chili Davis. There have been a lot of great switch hitters, but they did not end up with a lifetime average of 300.
Now, on the other hand, we should also qualify that by saying we'll see if those active guys stay over 300 the rest of their careers. Tino Martinez recovers, gets the ball to Messina to retire Surhoff. 3 up and 3 down. For the Yankees, it will be Bernie Williams, then Tino Martinez, and Jorge Posada coming up. 3-1. Atlanta. We're looking at some of those switch hitters. We looked at Mickey Mantle and Pete Rose, 2 of the great switch hitters of the past. Now here's one of the best of the current group of switch hitters, Bernie Williams of the Yankees. 304 lifetime average. First ball swinging against Maddox, and Helms takes care of it. Now that is a pretty easy out for a pitcher in a tight game against one of the top hitters in the lineup. 1 pitch and out. Here's the ESPN game track now. B.J. Surhoff drove in the first run of the night, a 2-out RBI single in the second after Martinez had tripled. Then in the last of the second, Joe Oliver way back there, and oh boy, what a shot it was. Then Rafael Furcal with this base hit drove in the go-ahead run for Atlanta. And then later, Andrew Jones hit a sacrifice fly to make it 3-1 Atlanta. That was in the 5th inning. So now the Yankees trailing. Tino Martinez comes up. He has grounded out and fly deep to center.
And John, as we're going to break, I thought you made a great point, and that is that these guys that are active are hitting 300, 304 right now. Well, will they end up over 300?
Guys like Pete Rose and
Mickey Mantle was well over 300 most of his career, and right at the end he dropped below 300. And you mentioned Willie Mays, who was over 300. So when you're at 304 right in that area, you can easily drop under 300 if you have a couple of off years. So we'll have to see if those guys can sustain it and stay over 300 for the rest of their careers.
You play into your 40s,
right?
The average is going to go down.
Yeah.
3-0 to Tino Martinez.
John, I saw an interesting note today, and it is that, you know, Barry Bonds started today with 32 home runs. As recently as 76, 74, 73, that led the American League in home runs.
Right to Kilville Veras. And the cleanup hitter, Tino Martinez, retired. 2 down.
Reggie Jackson led the American League in home runs with 32 in 1973. Dick Allen led the American League in 1974 with 32. And Greg Nettles led the American League with 32 in 76. So, and Barry Bonds already has 32.
Well, I mean, Barry himself won MVP awards in the early 90s in years where he hit 32, 33 home runs. Here is Jorge Posada, who has struck out and grounded out. Greg Maddox making it look easy right now. Into left field, that's a base hit. 1 hop to Martinez. 6 hits for the Yankees. David Justice coming up.
Well, Justice last time up, he hit a real long home run that just curved foul. We'll see her fastball down. Now, Maddox comes back. Justice doesn't think he will come in there again because he hit it out of the ballpark foul. What does Maddox do? Come right back on the inside part of the plate. That's what Leo Mazzoni was saying when he's smarter than most people think. He outsmarted the hitter there. The hitter's thinking he's not going to come back in there. I just hit it foul. And what does he do? He comes right back in.
Over to the Yankee dugout. Foul ball, 0-1. Justice is also flied out to left center in addition to that strikeout. Javi Lopez runs out to talk to Greg Maddox at the mound meanwhile. 3-1 Atlanta leading the Yankees. Paul Bacco, the starting catcher of the Braves tonight, left the game with a slight pull of his right hamstring, which apparently occurred as he was legging out. He has doubled and started that 2-run 5th inning rally.
Well, you know, one of the reasons I think Lopez went out to talk to Maddox, he was asking for a fastball away to Justice. That ball got the middle of the plate. That's the first ball that he feels like that he's missed badly with. So Lopez goes out there and he says, hey, you know, you all right? Make sure you miss away if you miss with that fastball, if we're going away from him. See, they're going back away. They didn't want him to pull the ball.
Off the glove of Maddox. Veras gets it at second. The throw to first in time. So Greg Maddox redirected the would-be base hit to center. deflecting it to where Varus could get it, and the inning is over. We're going to the 7th inning now. 3-1, Atlanta.
I've met...
I mean, you think the blimp saw that building and said, Mom? Dad? One ball to... It's me. Wes Helms is flied out deep to right center and flied out deep to left. He's a big guy, 6 feet 4 inches tall. Hit 20 home runs last year at Richmond in AAA ball. Seen him missing with a slider. 2 balls and no strikes. Helms has hit 5 home runs this year in 96 at-bats. 3-1, Atlanta leading the Yankees and Mike Messina. Yeah, that's a foul. One of Messina's problems last year is he had a losing year with Baltimore. After a long stretch of having one of the great winning percentages in all of baseball. You see the panoramic view of Yankee Stadium. Messina was the least well-supported pitcher in the majors last year. 2-2 now to Wes Helms.
Well, this is a breaking ball. It starts inside. You see Helms buckle a little bit, and it breaks over the inside corner.
2-2 to Helms. And 3-2. Messina said that his dad taught him most of what he knew about pitching up until he was about 16. And at that point, he threw so hard that his dad couldn't catch him anymore. 3-2 the count. And it's a walk. That is the first walk allowed in this game. Here's the GMC Envoy pitching summary. We see Joe Torre, pitching coach Mel Stottlemyre of the Yankees. Rick Maddox, 6 innings, 1 run, 6 hits. Actually, he walked Bernie Williams all the way back in the first inning when he was seemingly pitching around Bernie. You see Messina's numbers. Messina has also hit a couple of batters, and one of those turned into a run in the 2-run 5th inning for Atlanta as Javier Lopez takes a strike. Now, Lopez was not supposed to be in the game against Messina and was not to begin with, but when Baco left with the slight pulled hamstring, that put Lopez in there. He is 5 for 8 with 2 home runs in his career against Messina. A pop foul out of play off to the right. And of course, the reason Lopez is anything for anything against Messina is because of interleague play. Messina facing Greg Maddox tonight. He's already faced Pedro Martinez twice this year. He beat Pedro here 2-1. Great matchup, great performance by both pitchers. He used to regularly beat Randy Johnson. Johnson was with the Seattle Mariners. And that is a foul ball. He was 2-2 in his career against Roger Clemens, 2-0 against David Cohn. Tonight, facing Greg Maddox for the first time, and he's trailing 3-1 in the 7th. Maddox has had some guys, too. He had Kurt Schilling. He was 4-2 against him. 4-0 against David Cohn for Greg Maddox. He faced Kevin Brown, or has faced him 3 times, but never got a decision against him. That must be those games always end up 0-0, and they go to the bullpen. Speaking of Kurt Schilling, Maddox 4-2 lifetime against Schilling. There's Messina against some of the top pitchers. That's 7 wins and 3 losses against those 4 pitchers for Messina. Check swing. And Soriano's only plays the first. Tino Martinez with the put out. Lopez is gone with Helms moving along. And now to the top of the order. When they remodeled Yankee Stadium and reopened in 1976, they kept that upper deck facade as sort of a design element that goes around the center field scoreboard area and the advertising panels out there.
So where did Mantle hit it? Left-handed or right-handed?
Left-handed to right field. And he hit it off a piece of the facade like that we're seeing out there. Those are remnants of the old upper deck facade. That's a strike to kill Gilvaris. And it was, I mean, that was at the top of the third deck in right field that Mantle hit that ball. No ball has ever been hit completely out of Yankee Stadium. That was the closest. Gil Gilvaris 0 for 2. He was hit by a pitch, although he argued otherwise back in the 5th inning. 1 ball, 1 strike to count to him. Next Sunday night, we're going to see the Yankees again here in New York, but in a different venue. They'll be at Shea Stadium to take on the New York Mets, and Roger Clemens will not be pitching for the Yankees. Joe Torre reiterated that to us tonight before the game. And a foul out of play, off to the left. A ball and 2 strikes to Veras.
And Joe's reasoning, as he told us, was that, we have to remember baseball comes first, and he doesn't want all these sideshows and everything else to detract from the game itself and from playing baseball. So Joe has a little different perspective than a lot of other people in New York. They would like to see Roger pitch there for a variety of reasons.
2-2. Well,
I would like to see Roger pitch there for a variety of reasons.
Well, name one.
I'd like to see him bat.
You'd like to see him bat at Shea Stadium?
Yeah.
You mean because you'd like to see if he's a good hitter?
Yes.
Or
that's one of the reasons.
And what would be one of the other reasons? 2-2 the count. Change up. Got him swinging. So Veras is retired. 2 away.
A great changeup from Messina. He, like Maddox, has great arm speed with his changeup, and you can see Veras way out front. See the arm speed right there.
Two down now, and here is Rafael Furcal. Runner at second with 2 down. Furcal has been robbed of a hit by Bernie Williams. He's been hit by a pitch, and he has singled home a run. That was the run that put the Braves ahead in the 5th inning. A little bit high, apparently. 1 ball and no strikes. There's the runner at second base. That's Wes Helms, 2 down. This is the rubber match of this series. Messina now over 100 pitches for the game. He faced Pedro Martinez in consecutive starts here just recently. And then because of a rainout, was actually due up to face him for a 3rd time. Would have been 3 times in, 10 or 11 days. But he and Pedro would have been matched up. But finally, Joe Torre says, I think twice is enough for any one guy to have to face Pedro in a short time. Change up on the outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. The amazing thing is that the Yankees won 2 of those 3 games against Pedro, including 1 of the 2 that Messina pitched. He lost to Pedro here 3-0, or rather at Fenway. He lost 3-0 and beat Pedro in this ballpark 2-1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Fastball low. 2-1 the count. 2 for Cowell. Andrew Jones on deck. Messina had the game in Baltimore where he had to fight some emotion, which, as he said, he thinks is counterproductive, having lots of emotion going when you pitch. 2-1 the count. And that change up off the outside, 3-1. But he pitched well against Baltimore at Camden Yards the first time back, and this is what Cal Ripken said on his old teammate. He says his knuckle curve, it looks weird. It looks like a forkball, but it breaks bigger than most people's breaking balls. He's got great stuff. Cal said it looked a little different in the batter's box than what it used to look like being behind Messina. And that's into the upper deck. 3-2 the count. 2 for Cowell.
This was a knuckle curve that he threw earlier in the ball game. And you can see the rotation going straight down like a curveball. That's like a 12-6 curveball.
3-2 to Furcal. He has driven home a run tonight. Atlanta is leading 3-1. Helms at second, 2 down. Messina came after him with that high, hard one.
Well, he still has an excellent fastball. He has great speed on it, that 92 miles an hour up in the zone. And Furcal was actually late on it, but he was just got a piece of it.
So Messina will have to try it again. Fans shouting moose. And Furcal backs away. If Furcal gets on, then Andrew Jones, a powerful hitter, would get a shot at it here in the 7th inning. And a foul ball, so the count still 3-2 to Furcal. Mel Stottlemyre, former outstanding starting pitcher for the Yankees. He came up right at the end of that great era. 1964 helped them win the pennant. Went 9-3 the last couple of months of that year. Fastball into left field. That's a base hit. Helms is going to be held as Justice comes up throwing to the cutoff Ambrosius. Furcal, 2 straight hits with men in scoring position against Messina. Now he'll have to face Andrew Jones. And you get that added element of Furcal being a base stealer.
And a good job by Furcal. He just inside out this ball. It's right in front of Justice. And you see him holding Helms long before the throw comes in. Everyone is excited. They want him to score. And with 2 outs, most times with 2 outs, you go ahead and test it. You try to make it happen.
Ned Yost held up Wes Helms. Looked like Kilvio Veras was not happy about it. Furcal back to first. Now Messina has a dangerous hitter at the plate, but a dangerous base stealer at first base. There's Veras, who's talking to Dave Martinez in the dugout. By the way, that number 41 patch the Braves are wearing on their shirt sleeves, that's in honor of the late Eddie Matthews. There goes Furcal. Oliver throws through and throws it into center field. Now Helms does score, and Furcal goes to third. 4-1 Atlanta. So the Yankees gave away a run right there.
Well, I wasn't sure exactly what they were going to do, but this is not the right thing to do. They knew that it wasn't going to be a double steal because Helms doesn't run that well at third base. So all they wanted to do was steal a base, and Oliver comes up and fires. You can see that ball tails badly away from Soriano, and no chance for Soriano to knock it down even.
Now Jones is a fast runner. Brocious in a hurry. Just got him at first base. But the Braves eke out a run for Maddox and lead now 4-1. Last of the 7th. Sports Century Series continues with a special back-to-back presentation. We'll take an in-depth look at 2 of the greatest players, at least in individual seasons ever, for the Yankees, Mickey Mantle and, of course, Roger Maris, who had the 61 homers in 61. 9 p.m. Eastern. Mickey Mantle, 10 p.m. Eastern. Roger Maris, Friday on ESPN Classic. Scott Brocious, count 0-1. He has grounded out twice against Greg Maddux. Now Maddux is ahead 4-1. Joe Oliver on deck, and then Alfonso Soriano. Right back to Maddux. Now, the longer this game goes,
The better,
the easier the Maddux is making it look, yeah. Meanwhile, the Atlanta bullpen is getting ready just in case. There is Jose Cabrera warming up. And he's been a fine addition to the Atlanta bullpen. Used to be with the Houston Astros. Here's Joe Oliver. He has homered to center and lined out to second. a foul off the first base side, and it is 0-1. 4-1, the Braves lead the Yankees. The Yankees this week with Jorge Posada down with a sprained left thumb, which he suffered a week ago today. Ooh, look at that. 0-2 the count. Posada was unable to do any catching. Tonight he's the DH again, third straight game. So they brought up Todd Green for the minor leagues. And Green hit a homer and drove in 3 runs in his first game up for the minor leagues. There's Green. And then he drove in 3 more runs the next game. And the thing that Joe Choi wanted to talk about after his first game was not all the RBIs, but rather how well he seemed to blend with Roger Clemens, who pitched that night and got his season's high 10 strikeouts. Just off the outside. 2-2 the count. The Atlanta Braves, they've kind of reworked their rotation a little bit this weekend to get Glavine, Smoltz, and Maddox in the same series with the Yankees. That one is a base hit.
That ball is a half-inch off the ground, looked like. Oliver does a good job of going right back through the middle with it. Maddox kept going lower and lower and trying to get him to chase something. And he just goes down and hits a line drive to center field. And this pitch, watch this pitch, real low. See how it just reaches out? Watch this swing. This is more just kind of a half swing. Look at this. But he gets the job done. A lot of guys call that their emergency swing.
I think it's a tradition to start with Yogi Berra.
Yeah.
The Yankee catcher, you have to be a good bad ball hitter.
Yeah.
1-1 the count to Soriano. He was grounded out, and he's had an infield single. Now, Glavine got beaten here on Friday, and Smoltz got roughed up yesterday, although the Braves went on to win the ball game. That's a foul. But the Yankees got more than 6 runs in each of those 2 games. They won 7-4 Friday, and they lost 10-6 yesterday. And never has a team in a 3-game series where all 3 of those guys started against them gotten 6 or more runs in each of the 3 games. It's never happened. Time taken. This is the 35th 3-game series where Glavine, Smoltz, and Maddox have been the 3 pitchers for Atlanta. That's a foul. So I don't suppose there have been many of those 34 previous series even where another team got even 6 runs or more in 2 out of those 3 games, as the Yankees have done. But the thing I'm sure that got to bug Joe Torre, they get 6 runs yesterday in a game started by John Smoltz, and they lose by plenty. The Yankees staff seems a little bit short right now. They're without El Duque. Another foul by Soriano. Trying to make something happen here against Greg Maddox, who is on a roll right now, leading 4-1.
And when you look at the Braves, John, you look at their lineup, you say, well, they need another big bat in there to help Chipper Jones out. This is not a powerful lineup. And you can depend on pitching as they've done for the last 10 years or so, but eventually you're going to have some offense because their pitchers can't dominate now as they did in the last few years.
Curveball for the strikeout of Soriano. 2 down. 3 strikeouts for Maddox. Leadoff man Derek Jeter coming up. And here comes Bobby Cox out of the Yankee dugout. He's got Cabrera up in the bullpen. 2 down in the 7th inning. There's Cabrera. And before he gets to the mound, he has signaled to the bullpen for Cabrera. So Maddox, who had thrown 95 pitches, and I don't know if he...
I don't think he's happy.
Didn't look to be too happy to lead this game with 2 down in the 7th. So, that's all for Maddox. 2 down, runner at first. Jeter coming up, Cabrera coming in. We'll be right back. Yankee Stadium in New York, New York. Sunday Night Baseball, 4-1. Atlanta leading. But Greg Maddux gets the early hook, and he didn't look too happy about it.
Well, it's very unusual to see a guy strike out a hitter for the second out of the inning and to be taken out of the ball game. But I'm sure Bobby Cox has his reasons. I don't exactly understand what they could be, but Maddux definitely didn't want to come out of the ball game.
They'd only thrown 95 pitches. So here is Derek Jeter against Jose Cabrera. Cabrera has done a great job. Now, Jeter, by the way, tonight 1 for 3 against Maddux. Lifetime 8 for 16 against him. At any rate, whatever the reason is, Cabrera has come on. One ball, one strike. Cabrera, in 18 and 2/3 innings, has given up 3 earned runs, 1 home run, and has a record of 4-1 out of the bullpen. From Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic, 29 years old. He had been with Houston prior to this. Fastball off the outside. Certainly gives the hitter a different look than the one that Greg Maddux was giving him. Joe Oliver over at first. 2 balls and a strike to count. Cabrera, 2 years ago in the division series against Atlanta, threw 2 innings in the extra inning game 3 of that series and struck out 6 batters in his 2 innings. Last year, though, he did not have the same kind of success for the Astros. Ended up with a 5.92 ERA. Like a lot of the Astros pitchers, he seemed to do a little bit better pitching at the Astrodome than he did pitching at Enron Field.
Well, you can see why Bobby brought him in. I think he wanted someone that with a great fastball to try to get Jeter out, although, you know, Maddux, as I mentioned, was still throwing well.
Jeter to the upper deck. Sometimes, I would think sometimes guys might prefer to face a guy that throws a fastball even as hard as Cabrera throws it versus all the stuff that Maddux is up there throwing.
Well, I agree with you. A lot of times, I mean, for a guy like Cabrera, you just look dead red and try to get the barrel of the bat out there. With Maddux, you have to wait and then try to react.
2-2 the count. To right field. And it will stay in the park. On the warning track is Brian Jordan. Now we go to the 8th inning. Chipper Jones coming up. It is 4-1 Atlanta.
Yeah.
Braves lead 4-1 going to the 8th inning. These are the handball courts just outside Yankee Stadium. As seen from the MetLife blimp, Snoopy 1 teaming up with ESPN. Bring you these aerial views. Since 1987, the MetLife blimps, Snoopy 1 and Snoopy 2 have flown over 800,000 miles. Deep fly ball to center by Chipper Jones. Bernie Williams makes the grab. One top switch hitter hitting a long fly ball to another. As here's a look at Snoopy 1 high above Yankee Stadium tonight here in New York.
John, when I talked to Chipper today, I asked him how does he deal with the fact that, you know, they pitch around him a lot. And he said it was very difficult because he never knows when the pitcher's going to come after him and when they're not. And that indecision sometimes cost him. He said that's been his problem, trying to stay patient and make sure he gets a good pitch to hit. And Messina threw him a changeup and he went ahead and swung at it. So I think that, you know, that gets to you a little bit when you do not know when they're going to pitch to you or not.
John Rocker up in the Atlanta bullpen. Might have heard some booing going on at Yankee Stadium when that was noticed. Oliver comes over, and that ball just back out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike to count to Brian Jordan. This is John Miller along with Joe Morgan, your Sunday night telecasters, ESPN. Sunday Night Baseball from Yankee Stadium in New York. The Atlanta Braves. The team that had a winning record all through the 90s, it seemed. The dominant team in the National League, the Yankees, with 4 World Championships in the last 5 years, hosting the Braves in the rubber match of this 3-game series, an interleague series. The Braves are leading this game over Mike Messina and the Yankees 4-1 in the 8th inning. There's the play by Jeter just in time to get the very quick Brian Jordan. So 2 men gone. Chipper Jones took up switch hitting at age 8, but even during his first years of pro, he found it so frustrating that he almost gave it up, he told us.
My first year in pro ball and rookie ball, I actually gave it up. And word got back to the front office in Atlanta, and they were down the next day saying, you know, you don't need to give this up, because one of these days it's going to click for you, and you know, you're going to be as potent from that side of the plate as the other, and they were right.
And he was speaking from they meant he would be as potent from the left side as he was from the right side, because he had become just strictly a right-handed hitter at that time.
Dave Martinez, 1 for 3, although his hit was important, a triple in the second, and he later scored on a Surhoff single. 0-1 the count. Well, he has had, as a switch hitter, 3 consecutive years with 30-plus homers and 100-plus RBIs. And he is the first switch hitter in history to do that. Not even Mickey Mantle, nor Eddie Murray, or Reggie Smith, or any of the other top switch hitters ever did that 3 straight years.
John, what I found interesting in talking to all these switch hitters is that they have a similar concept in that if you're going to hit left-handed in the game, they take more batting practice from the right side so that they get equal at-bats, equal swings that particular day. If they're going to hit against a left-handed pitcher and hit from the right side, they take a lot more batting practice from the left side. So I found that to be interesting, so that you're working on the side that you're not really going to use as much that particular day.
Cena got the call on that outside fastball. 0-2 the count now. Surhoff would be next. Yeah, Posada told us that if he's going to be batting left-handed, as he was tonight against Maddox, he'll go into the batting cage early and get some swings right-handed just to stay fresh.
There is a downside if you want to look at it that way to switch hitting. For instance, when I played with Pete Rose, Rose would be swinging the bat great from the right side, but we wouldn't see a left-handed pitcher for a week at a time, so he didn't get a chance to use the side that he was swinging best from. And other times, when he slumped from the left side, he'd always hit from the left side. So there is a downside to something like that.
Well, we asked Chipper Jones how challenging it is to maintain his swing from both sides of the plate. Here's what he said.
Frank Howard was our hitting coach, and he always told me you have to take double the amount of swings on a daily basis from your weak side as you do your strong side. And I did that religiously left-handed, and it got to the point where left-handed was my natural swing, and my right-handed swing fell off. So you really have to concentrate on getting a nice balance on a day-in, day-out basis. Now I'm to the point where I'm just as I feel natural from both sides, so I can kind of knock it back down and take 20 swings left-handed, 20 swings right-handed, and feel like I'm right on.
A fairly recent development for him in that regard as well. Martinez retired. We're going to the last of the 8th. O'Neill coming up. Sunday Night Baseball presented by Nextel. Braves 4, Yankees 1. Last of the 8th inning, and the big hitters coming up for New York against Jose Cabrera, Paul O'Neill, Bernie Williams, and Tino Martinez. For the Yankees, set up now to give it their best shot here in the 8th. But as Cabrera is working here, John Rocker is already warming up in the Atlanta bullpen. There's Rocker, the Braves closer. And he got the game finished up yesterday. It's a called strike. It's quickly 0-2. O'Neill has hit a deep double to left center, and he has also singled and hit a comebacker. That was the one time where he was up there with men in scoring position. That has been a problem for O'Neill this year, hitting only .211 in those scoring position at bats. And up for the high fastball and lofted it into the upper deck. Over 41,000, the paid crowd at Yankee Stadium tonight. There is Carlos Almanzar warming up in the Yankee bullpen. Bernie Williams on deck. One and two now. Mariano Rivera, he gets up. If the Yankees are leading at about this time, looking to the 9th inning, or maybe if they're tied at home here. Split-fingered pitch in the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Remember, the Boston Red Sox, even without Manny Ramirez today, who wasn't feeling well, defeated the Philadelphia Phillies. Red Sox with a 1-game lead over the Yanks at the start of the day. Phillies had a 4-game lead over the Braves in the National League East at the start of the day. O'Neill fights it off again. And 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And you can see that what O'Neill's approach is after he gets 2 strikes. Just kind of fights things to left field.
You see the standings at the moment in the American League East. Into Boston's victory. You know, it kind of reminds me, Joe. Oh, we'll see if it continues this way. Remember that great at bat in Game 1 of the World Series last October? O'Neill against Armando Benitez. Benitez got him in a quick hole, 0-2, and looked hopeless. O'Neill must have fouled off 7 or 8 pitches, and I think it was the 10th pitch of the at-bat. He ended up coaxing a walk out of him, starting a rally that sent that game to extra innings.
Well, you can see he cuts down on his stride, stays back a little longer, and just tries to put the ball in play. Not in attack mode. He doesn't swing that aggressively at the pitch, so he just fights it off. And that's what you're talking about. I mean, if you do that, I mean, it's hard for a guy to continue to throw strikes, especially if he throws hard. This reminds me of Rico Carty, who used to play for the Braves. He could foul off ball after ball, and then you get one in the middle of the plate, and he would hammer it someplace. But with 2 strikes, it was almost impossible to put him away. And you see that with Paul O'Neill. Your best bet is to try to get him to chase something out of the strike zone.
High in the air, and again foul and out of play. So Cabrera keeps pumping in those fastballs, and O'Neill keeps fighting them off. And it is looking a lot like that at bat in the Fall Classic last October. That one at bat, which may have turned that, or helped turn that whole World Series around. It looked like the Mets were about to win Game 1 right here in this ballpark. This is the 10th pitch of this at-bat coming up. 2-2. He struck him out.
Good fastball away again. Actually, he took a little bit off of that one. And O'Neill swung through it. It wasn't the 90-plus mile-an-hour fastball that he had been throwing. Well, let's take a look. Looks like a fastball, but it's not the same velocity as the previous 3 fastballs. And O'Neill was actually a little bit out in front of that one, as you could see.
They've been fighting off those 92, 93 mile-an-hour pitches, and he took a little something off, and O'Neill missed it. Here is Bernie Williams, and it is 0-1. Bernie has walked, grounded into a double play, and grounded out to first. Now, Bernie had 20 hits in his last 12 games, 20 for 41 coming into this game.
And he has a 12-game hitting streak.
In fact, his last 23 games, he had seen his average rise from 205 to 287, where he started tonight's play. 1 out. O'Neill having struck out for out number 1. Here in the 8th. 4-1 Atlanta leading the Yankees. Tino Martinez on deck. Jorge Posada behind him. Right to Wes Helms. Cabrera covering. Out number 2. 2 down, nobody on. Meanwhile, here's an update from Brian Kenny.
John, tight ball game here. It's 3-2 Astros in the 8th, and here's Ruben Sierra off Jay Powell. Yeah, Ruben Sierra into the gap. 1 run will score. 2 runs will score. A-Rod, Gabe Kapler. 4-3. Rangers have the lead right now. They're in the top of the 9th. John?
So the Rangers in the rubber match of that series, the first time the Rangers and the Astros have ever played in regular season baseball. Here's Tino Martinez, and he hits a high pop-up. Gilvio Veras. And so the Yankees, with some of their biggest hitters up there, go down 1-2-3 against Cabrera. Now the 9th inning coming up. 4-1 Atlanta. ESPN Game Track. It was a clutch hit by B.J. Surhoff against his old Oriole teammate that drove in Dave Martinez with the game's first run in the 2nd inning. Then with the game tied, Rafael Furcal with this go-ahead RBI in the 5th inning. Greg Maddux pretty well handled everything else, at least for 6 2/3 innings, when suddenly he was yanked out of the game by Bobby Cox after he had struck out Soriano, and with Jeter coming up, that's when Cabrera came on, and Cabrera has retired everybody else up till now. Now it's the 9th inning, and there is Carlos Almanzar. Almanzar from the Dominican Republic. He had been with the San Diego Padres. He throws a called strike to B.J. Surhoff, who is 1 for 3. Almanzar Got into 62 games for the Padres last year. Up the middle, Jeter can't get it. Base hit to Surhoff, his second of the game. So B.J. Surhoff with a couple of hits tonight. He's hitting over 340 since early May as it was.
And you say B.J. just trying to lays the barrel of the bat on the ball. That's the style of hitting that he has. He's not really aggressive with the bat. He just kind of strokes the ball, as we saw on the base that he had to left field, and that one as well. You can see kind of pulled away a little bit and just used his hands.
Here is Wes Helms, 0 for 2 with a walk. Almanzar originally had been with the Toronto Blue Jays, broke into the big leagues in '97 with Toronto. Got another look in '98, and then was traded to San Diego in the deal that sent Woody Williams over there. That was the deal where the Blue Jays acquired Joey Hamilton from San Diego. Carlos Almanzar, 4-1 Atlanta, leading in the 9th inning. Now, this is not the way things have been working out for the Braves or for any other teams when they face the Yankees in October. Doesn't seem to go like this quite. And that may be the big question, I'm thinking, Joe, for the Yankees this year. Not will they win yet another World Series, but will they be able to get to the series?
Well, you either have to win, of course, the division or the wild card, and the problem is, if you're a team facing the Yankees, you do let them get to the postseason. Their battery and their lineups are so set that they know how to handle that pressure, and you do not have to use as many pitchers. You do not have to use as many. Last year they used basically Jeff Nelson, Stanton, and of course Rivera, and that was basically all they used out of their bullpen.
Helms is out on strikes and a good slider, and there is one away. Don't forget now to stay tuned after the ball game for SportsCenter with Rich Eisen and Linda Cohen, featuring a Sunday conversation with Derek Jeter. Also the Lakers and the Sixers in the NBA. Game 3 was tonight. They'll break it down for you. Jeff Gordon back on top. And right after SportsCenter, baseball tonight. 0-1 the count to Javier Lopez. But yeah, you're right. I mean, they had the 3 relievers and really 3 starting pitchers that he really trusted. So he basically went through the whole postseason with a 6-man pitching staff. And with the days off, and the guy's able to work a little bit extra anyway, because at that point, there's nothing really to pace yourself for. Torrey was able to make that. Now, if they played those playoffs every day, instead of having a day off every 3rd day or so, and then one series ended, you have a few days off, and everybody could get lined up again for the next series. If that 6-man pitching staff probably wouldn't have been enough even then. And that's a ball. Now, there's a lot of talk in New York about the Yankees. They've been struggling a little bit now. Now, Duque's under this, he's hurt. Here's Rocker back up in the bullpen, and those are the Yankees due up. Switch hitter, Posada, the lefty, Justice, and then Brocious. Heard here on Friday, although it doesn't appear to be serious. Jeter grabbing that one to retire Lopez. Surhoff holding it first, 2 down.
Well, David Wells had to leave his last start in the 1st inning with back spasm, so I'm not sure if the Yankees are pursuing him or not. That's just rumors that we've heard were about David Wells going to 2 or 3 ball clubs, actually.
Well, plus, as we talked to Torrey tonight, I mean, he really feels that the more urgent need, if they're going to bring somebody in, is to flesh out that bullpen a little bit. Right now, they've got Ramiro Mendoza in the rotation, replacing El Duque. Orlando Hernandez. There's Ramiro Mendoza, and he's an important member of that bullpen. The guy they don't have in there now. Kilvio Veras, the hitter, 0 for 3, and he's hit by a pitch. Goes out Veras. 1 hit and 1 left. And so John Rocker, who got the save here yesterday. Let's see if he's coming on to face Posada, Justice, and Brocious. Atlanta leads the Yanks 4-1. The Yankee Stadium now going to the last of the 9th inning. And The Braves leading 4-1, and John Rocker has come into the game to try and save this one, and this is when he came running in. Now that was a Bronx cheer. So John Rocker, who has had a much better year so far this year than last, especially the way he started out last year, embroiled in controversy, serving a suspension at the start of the year. 2-0, 17 saves, and a 2.77 ERA. Also in for Atlanta, Rico Bronya has gone in to play first base. There is Bronya. And he is one of the best fielding first basemen around. John Rocker has had 13 consecutive save conversions. He has not blown a save since April the 15th against the Phillies. And only 2 blown saves all year. He has never allowed a run to the Yankees. Look out! That got Posada.
Well, yesterday he came in. The first hitter he hit was Jeter, and he ended up striking out O'Neill in a crucial situation. This is the first pitch. You can see it hits him, looks like just above the right knee. And yesterday, the first pitch to Jeter.
David Justice. Strike, and it's 0-1. David Justice, who was once an Atlanta Braves hero. In October 1995, he hit what proved to be the World Series winning home run against the Cleveland Indians in Game 6. And he hit it against a left-hander named Jim Poole. He was late on that fastball, lofting it high and foul off the left field line into the upper deck. So quickly, Rocker is ahead of Justice, 0-2.
Rocker, of course, throws the good fastballs we've seen, and he also has a big breaking ball, which we have not seen, and Justice is probably thinking in the back of his mind he may see it here.
Try to slide it, miss with it. 1 ball and 2 strikes. 4-1, Atlanta. The Braves, who were swept in the 1999 World Series by the Yankees, 4-0, and who were swept in the last 4 games of the 1996 World Series by the Yankees after winning the first 2 games. But with a win tonight, they'll draw even against the Yanks in interleague play. That one snaps in there, strike 3 called.
And that's what's tough about being a hitter against a pitcher that comes out of the bullpen. He throws you 2 pitches, you get ahead, and you haven't seen all his repertoire yet, and all of a sudden you're down 2 strikes. Now he throws you that slider, and you can see it gets a lot of the plate.
So now John Rocker to face Scott Brocious. Rocker with his 33rd strikeout of the year in 26 of the 3rd innings pitched. Brocious has grounded to short, grounded to third, and hit a comebacker. The Yankees' leading hitter for batting average. Slider, did he swing? No, says first base umpire Paul Emmel. 1 ball and no strikes. This is a game for Greg Maddux to win. It would be his 11th win in interleague play. That's low for a ball, 2-0. Maddux tied with Dave Burba of Cleveland and Brad Radke of Minnesota. All 3 of them have had 10 interleague wins. And that's the most by any pitchers. So Maddux facing the Yankees for the first time since last June when he and Roger Clemens faced right after Clemens and Pedro Martinez in our great game on Memorial Day weekend of a year ago. Looked like another great matchup for Clemens right after he faced Pedro, and both of them got knocked around in that game. The Yankees were beaten by the Braves in that one, 11-7. Maddox gave up 7 runs and 13 hits. This could be 2 for Cal, the second one. Veras over to first. Double play, and the ball game is over. The series is over. And the Braves win this series at Yankee Stadium, 2 games out of 3. And John Rocker gets the save for Greg Maddux. And Mike Messina loses his 3rd in a row. It's the second 3-game losing streak Messina has had this year for the Yankees.
Well, Messina's been matched up against some of the best pitchers tonight. He was matched up against Greg Maddux, who only gave up the 1 run. So the Braves pitching staff looks like it's back on track, which means the Braves are back on track. They have won 8 out of 9 on this present road trip, so they're starting to play well. He gets the ground ball he wants, and there's Bobby Cox saying, that's what I'm looking for.
And so the Braves, over the longer haul, they've won 17 of their last 23. And now only 3 games back of the Phillies, who lost at Boston today. And, of course, the Yankees are now 2 games back of the Red Sox in the American League East. Next week, we'll be in New York again. The Yankees and the Mets, 8 Eastern. We'll see you then. Sports Center coming up next. For Joe Morgan and our entire ESPN crew, I'm John Miller. Good night from New York.
This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For more, log on to ESPN.com.